All right, Broncos Insider Benjamin Allbright recently spoke about that wild Eric Bieniemy article that came out on Tuesday evening, I believe, which has since been taken down, by the way, and I'll do a story on that later today. But anyway, he had some very interesting things to say about the article, and I want to talk about it. But first, how about those? Hey, if you love the Chiefs as much as I do, make sure to subscribe and turn notifications on so that you can get daily news about our favorite team. About 85% of people who find my videos are not subscribed, so make sure you do so if you want this news. Okay, Benjamin Allbright. He's the host, reporter, and analyst at the Broncos flagship and Broncos Insider with more than 125,000 followers on Twitter. Well, he recently reacted to the article about Eric Bieniemy and the troubling claims that the article made. Here's what he had to say. He said 70% lines up with what he's heard. 25% is stuff that he's intimately familiar with or stuff he could verify, and about 5% is false. He said, quote, anyone who has ever worked with EB knows he's hard to work with, end quote. There are many things in that article that line up with things he's been directly told from people who work in Kansas City and have played or play in Kansas City. He said, I can tell you during that AFC Championship game, an offensive lineman stood up, addressed the team, and specifically pointed his fingers at that particular member of the coaching staff about his ability to get plays called on time. He kind of then goes back to when EB was on the Vikings, and this was in regards to him being picky about which running back goes out when he told the Vikings that they did not need Adrian Peterson. Well, he did get credit for developing him, but obviously Adrian Peterson was fantastic. He then goes on to say, yeah, Tyreek Hill went on Twitter and went to bat for him, but a lot of players will not. He then said this, which I found to be probably the most interesting part of the entire 2-minute piece. He said that it's not so much a race thing as far as he can tell. He then said, let's take a look at Ryan Poles, for example. And if you don't know who that is, Ryan Poles is a 36-year-old African-American who was previously executive director of player personnel with the Kansas City Chiefs and has been with the Chiefs organization in different capacities since 2009. He recently took a job with the Chicago Bears and is now their general manager. Well, Benjamin Allbright points this out. He said, since taking the GM job with the Bears, Ryan Poles didn't even offer an interview to Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy has been with the Chiefs since 2013, so they've known each other for 8 years, and no interview offered. My question to that is, why? That's weird. That's very interesting. And if you didn't know, the Bears ended up hiring former offensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts, Matt Eberflus. He was there for 3 seasons. Let's look at their record. In 2019, they were 7-9. In 2020, pretty good, 11-5. And then last season, they were just 9-8. In his 3 years as offensive coordinator, they didn't win a single playoff game with this guy as their coach. And he got the job. EB has won how many playoff games with the Chiefs in 3 years? 2 Super Bowl appearances and a win. So not to go on and on about the Bears, but then Ryan Poles hired Luke Getsy as their OC, and this guy spent the last 3 seasons as Green Bay's QB coach. We all know Green Bay has fared better than the Colts, but again, I say all this just to say something is not adding up. Why wouldn't EB's coworker of 8 years, a guy who is also black, an African American, why would he not give EB even a shot at an interview? So I don't know. I don't want to assume too much. I don't want to read between the lines here. Maybe he had his own reasons, or maybe the team already had their choices lined up. But I would say this, you have a pretty good amount of influence as the GM. And EB doesn't even get an interview? What? If you're enjoying this video so far, can you do me a favor and just hit that like button real quick so that more Chiefs fans can find this content? So again, let's back up to Allbright. He said, regarding the article, he said this, 70% lines up with what he's heard, 25% is stuff that he's intimately familiar with or could verify, and about 5% of it is false. That's a bit troubling to me. He ends the snippet saying he thinks the best thing Bieniemy could do is to take an OC job somewhere else for a year and sort of get out from underneath Reid and Mahomes' shadow and prove himself, if you will. What are your thoughts on that? Do you agree with what he said? Do you disagree? What parts do you disagree with? Do you think EB should take a coaching job elsewhere to get out from underneath Reid's shadow? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. As far as my opinion goes, at this point, I think he should try and find an OC job elsewhere, even if the only reason is just to say, look, I am the real deal. I can prove it. I think it would be best for all sides moving forward. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe for more content like this. I post daily news about the Kansas City Chiefs, and we'll be doing news like this all year long. So until next time, let's go. How about those